Hey, everybody. This live, of course, is not a live that was planned or intended. I'm scheduled to go live tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But after having been given some information, I felt it really important to go ahead and share this information today. While I have it, we folks in journalism like to share things that we have that other people don't have. So I didn't want to wait until tomorrow to go live. So I'm going to give it a second for folks to get on in the room, and then I'm going to dive right in because I do have some information that I want to go over with you. And I want to be clear: this is not an email that Alan Levine sent to me. However, he gave permission for this to be shared, and once he gave permission for it to be shared, folks made sure that it made its way to me. So I love the fact that there are, concerned citizens and people in the community who care about what's happening, who care about our children and our physicians, and make sure that I get information that people need to know. Now, let me say this. I know that many of you are not used to seeing Alan Levine and me in agreement. But when it comes to his view on vaccination, his view on misinformation that's out there, we do agree, and I know that that's rare. Although I do still think that Ballot Health as an organization straddles the fence on some things, I do want to share some information. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. So as many of you guys know, I talked about on Monday the fact that there are two physicians in the Tri-Cities community that are a part of the Freedom Matters tour. And this is a tour that's being put on by Tennessee Stands. Bud Halsey is touring with them. So Dr. Denise Sibley is touring with them. And then Dr. Sean Oceanbine. Now, let me say this. I mispronounced his name on Monday. And then after I heard some other people say it, I was like, oh, that's it. Because somebody told me how to say it, but they got it wrong. So it's Dr. Sean Oceanbine. And you may remember, you may have seen recently that Sean Oceanbine was part of an article in the Washington Post just the other day. He has joined Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA in addition to the Freedom Matters tour. And for those of you guys who don't know, so the Freedom Matters tour is the one that I talked about. I'm on their website right now, and it says, there's a growing movement across the state of Tennessee for those who understand the state and nation's constitution. These people are no longer willing to allow their rights to be eroded or infringed upon. With these rights and values in mind, Tennessee Stands is launching the, quote, Freedom Matters tour to promote constitutional values and to encourage Tennesseans to stand up for their personal liberties. And then it says, if you're tired of the perpetual masking, medical privacy invasions, indoctrination in schools, or election integrity being compromised, here's your opportunity to stand and be counted. And the two physicians are Dr. Denise Sibley, who's an internal medicine physician in Johnson City. And then you have Dr. Sean Oceanbine, who is an ER physician also in Johnson City. Now, he's also, anyway, here's the thing. He was quoted speaking to a group of teenagers as part of this Turning Point USA presentation as saying this, and I quote, this is Dr. Sean Oceanbine speaking. You say I'm 18 years old. I have no health conditions. Based on the 5-year mortality data, I have a high likelihood of dying from flu versus COVID, and I don't get the flu vaccine, so I'm not going to get this one. Drop the mic. You're done. That's it. That's what this ER physician in Johnson City who works at Ballad said. Okay. So when hearing that he was a part and that Denise Sibley was a part of this Freedom Matters tour, curious about Ballad Health's stance behind this, someone reached out to Alan Levine and said, hey, are you aware that two of your physicians, two physicians are speaking at this tour, at this event, right? Oceanbine and Sibley. And I'm going to read for you verbatim Alan Levine's response in reference to Dr. Oceanbine and Dr. Denise Sibley. Now, let me be clear to you. Dr. Denise Sibley does not work, quote unquote, for Ballad. Her husband, though, Dennis Sibley, does. He is currently on the Ballad Health's website. He is a pathologist who I have been told has a significant contract with Ballad Laboratories. So there you go. There's the connection. So here was Alan Levine's response with regard to these physicians coming to the Tri-Cities. For example, I know they were in Kingsport at Higher Ground Baptist Church. Surprise, surprise. I know that they are also going to be in Greenville. I think Mount Juliet, like a lot of different places. So listen, this is what Alan Levine had to say concerning this Freedom Matters tour, Dr. Oceanbine and Dr. Sibley. Quote, "We are facing a very high-risk situation in terms of patient volumes, and I believe the timing of this has the potential to confuse a lot of people. Many of these physicians' colleagues are bracing themselves to care for an awful lot of patients seriously ill with COVID, including an increasing number of children. I sincerely hope they conduct themselves in a manner which is worthy of their profession. Both are competent physicians, perhaps with views very different from ours, but the consequence of being associated with such bad misinformation can be deadly for people." End quote. I know you're shocked. I am not. I have, when it comes to matters like this and the severity of them, I am not shocked to see Alan respond in this way. What does bother me is if this is your response to people in the community who are concerned, who are curious, like, hey, why is this happening? I think this is where Ballad has to step up, because while they cannot control political speech, right? Ballad Health actually is a private organization. So here's the difference. ETSU is a state-funded institution. Therefore, the First Amendment applies. ETSU cannot dictate and say, hey, listen, no, you can't say that if it's around political speech. It is protected where ETSU is concerned. Ballad Health is a private healthcare system. Your speech is not protected with them. If they don't like what you're saying, you can be terminated. You can be let go. You can be reprimanded. You can have your contracts terminated. They don't have to deal with you, right? As they have demonstrated for many other reasons, right, in the past. So my question to Alan Levine is simply this, sir. If you believe that this information is bad misinformation that these physicians are putting out, if you believe that it is bad misinformation and that it can be deadly for people, why does Dr. Sean Oceanbine still have privileges, and why is he associated with Ballad Health? Because if being associated with that bad misinformation coming from this physician can be deadly to people, what is it to Ballad Health to be associated with this physician who's giving this deadly, potentially deadly bad misinformation? Isn't that bad for Ballad? Isn't that something that Ballad would not want for itself? Like, don't straddle the fence. If you believe that the information, if you believe that this physician and these physicians are giving misinformation that is horrible, that could potentially be deadening and harmful to individuals. Why would you as an organization not use the power that you have and end your affiliation with that physician? That's my question. Ballot Health, you are the largest employer in that region. We all know that by leaps and bounds. From an example standpoint, from a pressure standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, you are in a position greater than anyone else and any other organization in that community to lead the way in the fight against COVID-19. You are in a position to lead the way in setting the proper example as to what physicians should and should not be doing. When you say, and I quote, I sincerely hope, that's what he said, I sincerely hope they conduct themselves in a manner which is worthy of their profession, right? Every physician has a code of ethics that they agree to. And if you believe that they are violating that code of ethics, if you believe that they are not behaving in a way that is worthy of their profession, then do you want them wearing a Ballot Health badge? Do you want them representing your organization? Because people do look them up. And when they look up Ocean Fine, there he is, smiling on your site, big as life and twice as nasty. So this is my question. And same thing for Dr. Ginger Carter, sitting on the Board of Education. She also is an OBGYN with privileges at Franklin Woods. This is and this is where I think Ballot has dug themselves a little bit of a hole, because you have certain relationships and a certain number of physicians and the ability to recruit, and now a global pandemic is here, and all of these things have mixed together. And the question is, do you allow these things to take place? Potentially having this misinformation lead to higher patient volumes, higher body counts, maybe, right? And that's according to his response. And just to have their bodies there? Or do you set the example and say, I mean, I've seen you, Alan. I've seen you use press releases. I've seen you get the news to agree to an hour interview with you. I have seen you sit down with Josh at WJHL and mic yourself up and give them the rundown. You've given them facts and figures. Do that same thing right now. Do that same thing. Get in front of those news cameras. Explain what's really happening with COVID-19 and our children, especially. Explain what's happening with staffing and the dangers. Address specifically these physicians and the misinformation that is coming from them. And let the people hear what needs to happen. Step up. If you're going to be the largest and only hospital system in that region that people have to go for in the middle of a global pandemic, then damn it, don't just tell people via email, which this email is great. I'm so glad you said it. But say it to the community, say it to the public. You have the ability, you are in this position to do that. You have the same people that are sitting on your boards, the same people that are sitting in the chambers of commerce, the same people that are sitting on all these different regionalism committees. You have the influence with these same leaders and these same community people to be able to apply the pressure so that the truth about this pandemic and the truth about its potential effect on our children, what is currently happening, you have the ability to get it out there and to make it known. And if people don't like it, so what? At least you save lives in the process. It is very rare that Alan Levine and I agree, but we do on this issue. I do not agree with them still sponsoring a concert, right? If you really believe that we are in a very high risk situation in terms of patient volumes, then damn it, don't sponsor a concert that's only going to increase the potential of a spread, right? Let's don't do that. This is what I mean about conflicting information that confuses people. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe these physicians feel like they're allowed to say things that confuse the people because Ballot Health is doing things that still confuses people. Maybe. Maybe that's an issue. I'm not really entirely sure. But what I'm saying is that now is the time. If you're ever going to stand up and do the right thing and clean house, now's the time to do it. And you'd be doing it for legitimate reasons and reasons that could potentially save lives and save the stress of those physicians. When you talk about many of these physicians' colleagues are bracing themselves to care for an awful lot of patients seriously ill with COVID, including an increasing number of children, then help those physicians' colleagues. Help them. So, because here's what it seems like, right? You either stay affiliated and kind of sort of add credibility to these physicians and have an increased potential patient flow based on the misinformation, bad misinformation, according to you, that they're spreading just to have another physician body there. Or you get rid of the damn body, send the message that the information is misinformation, send the message that the misinformation is bad information and potentially deadly information, and then you have staff that knows you will stand up for them and that they have to do what's right by the public. And if they have to take on a patient or two, maybe they just do. Or maybe because people get the message, people go, oh shit, maybe that information isn't really great. And maybe I should wear a mask. And maybe I should get a vaccination. And maybe I shouldn't go to the concert because Ballot said, listen, we ethically cannot sponsor this concert right now. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe you say to people, listen, we want you to have concerts. We also want you to be alive and well with healthy, functioning lungs. So no, right now we can't do that. And we know that it's hard and we know that it's tough. You know, we know that everyone wants to be back to normal and we value you and your lives more than that. Maybe that's what you say. Maybe. Just throwing that out there as a possibility. Maybe. You know, hopefully I'm making some sense, you know. I think when I'm using this software, all the comments aren't coming through. So I'm going to really quickly see if I can't. See, I pulled up my comments on my phone. Hey, Almani. Hey, Stacy. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Mama. I didn't see any of these comments. They weren't coming through. Right. So Josh Borders says doctors have their own opinions, which is okay. They are still humans, but it should make you very cautious of their care. And I do. So like when Alan goes on to say in this email, he says both are competent physicians. What does that mean? Because for me, I have to look at what you do outside of the office in terms of your competency. If you are a physician that is spreading potentially deadly bad misinformation, I don't know about your competency. Maybe you have skills that are competent, right? But for me, I look for more than just your skill alone. As a physician, I need to know the way that your brain thinks. I need to know that you put patient health and well-being above your reputation. I need to know that you want to save more lives than you want to reach on Real America on OAN. I want to know that patients are more important than your popularity. To me, that is an indicator of your competence as a physician. Call me crazy, but that's just what I think. So here's what I'm going to say. I know that many of the administrators within Ballad may not like me, and that's okay. We don't have to like each other to agree on what's best for the public. I've always said that. I've always said you don't have to like me for us to sit down and find a way to work together. I have always said that. I've always called you out when you lied too. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way that it is. I'm not going to compromise that for you guys. But here's what I will say. I will gladly extend my platform for any Ballad Health administrator that would like to come on and talk about COVID-19, talk about the Delta variant, talk about vaccinations, talk about some of these therapeutics that people want to talk about, and what's really happening, especially with regard to our children. Hear me, Jamie Swift, Eric Deaton, Lindy White, Tony Keck, Alan Levine. Any of you are welcome to come. I will gladly send you a link and host a live and let you talk to the people, because it's not about me. It is about what is the most important thing for the people in the community and their health and well-being. So feel free to pass that along. Those of you guys that watch my lives so that you can report back, or for those of you guys who are watching directly, Eric, you've got my cell phone number. Lindy, so do you. Use it. Use it. But for goodness sake, stand up and put a stop to these physicians. If you can tell citizens in an email and give them permission to share it, Alan, if you can tell citizens in an email and say, yes, I'm fine if you share it, that these physicians are being associated with such bad information, that they are giving bad misinformation that can be deadly for people, then you need to stand up as the CEO of the only hospital system in Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia, right? You are the caretaker, sir, for 1.2 million people. So stand up and hold those physicians accountable. They are out of line with the code of ethics for physicians. They are out of line with the oath that they took. And you have the ability to police what they do because you are a private entity. So do that. Set the example. Apply the pressure. You're the largest employer. Act like it. You're the Goliath in the region. Act like it. For once, use your position for good, for the health and well-being of the community. Use it. Shit, I've seen you all flex on people before. Flex for people's lives. Do that. And maybe your staff won't have to deal with overwhelmingly high numbers of patient volumes, including children that are sick with COVID-19. Hopefully, we will not have refrigerated trucks that need to be used, especially for the bodies of children. Let's not do that. Let's prevent that, you know? All right, guys, that is all I got. I am out of here. I'm going to go. I will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here, Facebook and YouTube. Let me also say this. The Rantings of Danny audio podcast is available on iTunes and Spotify and Spreaker and Google Play and I believe iHeart now. New episodes every Wednesday. Make sure that you subscribe and download. I'm really excited about tomorrow night's guest. It's Dr. Walter Sims. He's a preacher, a pastor, he's a coach, and he's all kinds of things. And we're going to talk about, coping with everything that's going on. And of course, y'all know I've got some more stuff. Tomorrow night, I've got some more information concerning Bud Halsey, Denise Sibley, ETSU, but that is going to be for tomorrow night only. You guys take care of yourselves. Be amazing. Be light. Be love. Peace.